The Saturn V rocket was used by NASA between 1967 and 1973. All of these decades later, no other machine quite matches its amazing fortitude. The Saturn V rocket was developed to support NASA's Apollo program in the effort toward human exploration of the Moon. It was later used to launch Skylab, which was the first American space station. The rocket launched a total of 13 times from Kennedy Space Station. No mission resulted in a loss of payload or crew, and as of 2020, the Saturn V remains the heaviest, tallest, and most powerful rocket to ever be brought to operational status. It also continues to hold the record for the heaviest payload ever launched, as well as largest payload capacity, coming in at 310,000 pounds to enter low Earth orbit. And thanks to preserved footage, you can still see this magnificent feat of engineering take off in all of its glory. The Saturn V remains the largest production model to come out of the Saturn family of rockets. It's still the only spacecraft to carry humans beyond low Earth orbit, and between December of 1968 to December of 1972, it took a total of 24 astronauts to the Moon. The vessel has since been retired, but engineers continue to look toward the Saturn V as inspiration for rockets they develop in the modern day. There's still much about the cosmos we don't know. That especially holds true for the largest planet in our solar system, Jupiter. But on August 5, 2011, NASA launched a new Juno mission aboard the Atlas V rocket to study the planet with the big red dot. The goal with the launch is for the Juno spacecraft to orbit around Jupiter a total of 33 times. In the process, it will beam back vital information about the atmosphere of the planet. It also sends back photos so that scientists can get a better picture of the mysterious planet. The rocket took off from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station at 11:25 a.m. local time in a stunning display of engineering.
2, 1, ignition, and liftoff of the Atlas V with Juno on a trek to Jupiter, a planetary piece of the puzzle on the beginning of our solar system.
Picture our roll program is in progress. Vehicle body rates look good. Booster.
Despite the rocket taking off in 2011, it took the spacecraft until July of 2016 to finally reach the planet. Once it got into Jupiter's orbit, the planet's gravitational pull pulled Juno in faster and faster until it eventually reached a speed of around 150,000 miles per hour, making this one of, if not the, fastest man-made object. It was an incredibly important mission for scientists, many of whom believe Jupiter holds critical data to understanding the true origins of our solar system. This mission was also significant for being the farthest space probe ever sent to be powered by solar arrays. In total, the mission cost an estimated $1.1 billion. The probe has already sent useful data back to scientists, and it's expected to run until July of 2021. Fortunately, the information researchers collect from this mission will continue to inspire generations of scientists who want to understand our place in the universe a little bit better. You likely remember seeing news stories of Elon Musk's SpaceX sending an unmanned electric Tesla car into orbit. That launch was only successful due to the superb engineering that was put into the SpaceX Falcon Heavy. This rocket lifted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida at 3:45 p.m. local time on February 6th of 2018. No humans were on board, but the Tesla car did have one passenger in the form of a dummy affectionately named Starman. To date, the SpaceX Falcon Heavy remains one of the most powerful spacecraft ever launched into orbit. Fans of space exploration, and likely a few fans of Elon Musk himself, gathered on the beach that afternoon to watch history in the making. The launch was made possible thanks to 3 boosters on board the Falcon Heavy, and the rocket as a whole was strapped together with 27 engines. The occasion marked the maiden test flight of the rocket. It wasn't long until video images beamed down from the spacecraft showing the bright red Tesla Roadster circling our planet. The car was able to survive the launch thanks to a protective covering that dropped away once the vessel reached orbit. This exposed the car for all of us to see and enjoy. A short time after launch, the booster rockets separated, and the two landed upright under their own immense power at a nearby Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. It was an incredible feat of precision both in flight and engineering, and for quite some time, people will be able to enjoy the sight of a spaceman, with one hand on the wheel and one hand resting on the convertible's door, orbiting through space in total serenity. On February 24, 2011, the Discovery Space Shuttle launched from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. The occasion marked its 39th and final mission. Discovery had a 6-member crew on board to deliver the Leonardo Multipurpose Logistics Module to the International Space Station. The Discovery rocket has quite the storied career. Its first shuttle mission took place in April of 1981. It continued being used in space stations for 30 years as it carried people into orbit constantly so that they could recover and repair various satellites. It also helps astronauts conduct cutting-edge research. Multiple cameras were able to capture the monumental moment, showing that after all these years, the Discovery still has what it takes to get the job done.
Start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
Over the course of its career, the Discovery traveled a total of 143 million miles and transported 246 crew members into space. For this final mission, which spanned 11 days in addition to the module delivery, the rocket also had on board a humanoid robot assistant named Robonaut 2. The final mission was led by veteran NASA astronaut Stephen Lindsay, with Nicole Scott, Michael Barrett, Stephen Bowen, Alvin Drew, and Eric Bowie. It serves as a shining example of what's possible when the greatest minds in America work towards the common goal of scientific exploration and research. The Apollo 11 is arguably the most famous rocket in history. It represents the culmination of nearly a decade of research after President John F. Kennedy set a goal on May 25, 1961, to perform a crewed lunar landing and then return to Earth. That goal was met on July 16, 1969, when the Apollo 11 spacecraft launched from Cape Kennedy with Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins on board. It was a monumental moment in American history. An entire generation of Americans remember where they were when they watched a rocket take humans into space to actually walk on the moon. Man was no longer confined to walk on our blue planet. Interstellar travel actually became a possibility.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
On July 18th, Armstrong and Aldrin got dressed in their spacesuits to climb through the docking tunnel from the Columbia to the Eagle to make a TV transmission. One day later, the rocket flew behind the moon out of contact with Earth. This became the first lunar orbit insertion maneuver. On July 20th, history was made when Armstrong and Aldrin became the first people to walk on the moon. The phrase, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," permanently entered the lexicon. After years of trailing the Soviet Union, the United States gained a permanent edge in the space race. And to this day, the country remains the only one in the world to have put human beings on the moon. The two spent 21 hours and 36 minutes on the surface of the moon before returning to their spacecraft. On July 24th, Re-entry procedures were initiated as the spacecraft begun its descent back to Earth. Apollo 11 came down into the Pacific Ocean, about 13 miles away from the USS Hornet, which served as the recovery ship. And with that single act, a generation of future scientists, researchers, and astronauts were inspired to pursue their dreams. Anything was possible in this brave new frontier. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to leave us some suggestions in the comments. Otherwise, be sure to click the link on screen to check out our video on 5 rocket landings that went horribly wrong. As always, thank you for watching, and be sure to tune in next time.